This is just a little bit of network chiropractic that I do at the very beginning, which relaxes the inside of the spinal cord and also just kind of relaxes them and lets them know that I'm about to do some work on them. But what I'm going to do from an examination perspective is to just gently test this range of motion and see whether we have a lot of work to do on his neck or not. And he actually has very good range of motion in his neck. But we know from our back exam that we have quite a bit of tightness in his back and in his rib cage, because if I go to lift his back up, he's a little bit uncomfortable when I lift it, and then earlier when we moved his rib cage to this side, he really doesn't move his rib cage to this side very well. And that's true in his riding too, right? His rib cage, so his rib cage has to bend outward if he's going to turn to the right, and it has to bend back in if he's going to turn to the left. And we're a little bit stiff on that side. And I'm going to come along and I'm feeling his muscles as I go through all of him, looking for tight places. I'm going to check his sacroiliac joints. I'm going to check how tight his tail is. Feel the muscles down even in between his hind legs, because many, many horses injure their muscles in their inside hind legs. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of his body. I'm going to start right up at his head, check the motion of his jaw, check his hyoid bones, make sure that there's a little bit of discomfort on his left hyoid bone area. We're going to see if he's a little bit stiffer on this right side. Some of this is what I call brain stiffness. Step up. So let's see. So this side is more difficult for him to turn. And this is not just because he doesn't want to turn. It's because his joints are stiffer. He can turn, but we're going to need to do some work at the front end. Check his withers for motion. We'll check his rib cage from this side as well, because this side I can actually move his rib cage. The other side I can't move his rib cage. So we have work on the left to do there. And we know our back muscles are tight from our previous exam. So as I come down in here, I know that we have muscle tension here and muscle and rib tension on the left side. Check his sacroiliac joint, a little bit of tightness, but that's not his major problem. Check his tail again from this side. So by the time I finish with this horse, I'm going to have touched every muscle in his body, everywhere, especially in between these hind legs, because they can slip and slide and pull these muscles very, very easily. I'm just checking for muscle tension, muscle tightness, and I will do joint motion of the lower legs a little bit later. I do more muscle work than many chiropractors, because I just find that it really is all soft tissue that holds the joints together. It's really important to be gentle with muscles, and horses are so much more sensitive than we give them credit for. And yeah, they feel a fly, and so it actually just does not take a lot of force to work on a horse. Okay. just, is he getting too close to that? There you go. One step. So I'm just checking his ribs, working on his lumbosacral junction, but most of our rib work is going to be on the other side, because this side does. There we go. Now we can actually lift nicely on this side.